Today we will be going over the integumentary system, commonly referred to as the skin system. Of course, as you can see, that is a picture of me in the corner. So let's get started. So the integumentary system is an organ system consisting of skin, hair, nails, and exocrine glands. So the skin is only a few millimeters thick, yet it is by far the largest organ in the body. The average person's skin weighs about 10 pounds and has a surface area of almost 20 square feet. Skin forms the body's outer covering and forms a barrier to protect the body from chemicals, diseases, UV lights, and physical damage. The hair and nails extend from the skin to reinforce the skin and protect it from environmental damage. Although you may not typically think of the skin as an organ, it's in fact made up of tissues that work together as a single structure to perform all these unique and critical functions. So these functions can include anything from thermoregulation, which usually means controlling, your body temperature, via hair coat, sweat glands, blood vessels, or protection, which means protecting against physical, chemical, and microbiological agents. Sensation is very important in that the skin and the hair help us with senses such as touch, temperature, pain, itching. Not only that, but the skin can be an important indicator of general health or internal diseases. Um, and not only that, but it helps with immunoregulation, which we'll look at in a minute. There are many layers of the skin, the outermost or superficial layer being the epidermis, which are made up of keratinocytes, melanocytes, Langerhans cells, and Merkel cells. In the epidermis, the main cells are the keratinocytes. Keratin is resistant to damage, provides protection against injury, water, and pathogens. Calluses form from excessive keratin depositions in areas of repeated strain due to friction. They provide protection to avoid damage in the future. Fingernails and hair are also formed from keratin and are produced by specialized cells in the skin. Melanocytes are a type of cell derived from the neural crest cells and found in the stratum basal. Langerhans cells are actually special macrophages that reside within the stratum spinosum. These cells are capable of presenting antigens to the T cells in order to activate the immune system, so they are very important. Um, the dermis is the second layer, or the layer below the epidermis, which consists of fibrous connective tissue. Um, the upper layer, which is usually referred to as the dermal papillary layer, consists of loose connective tissue. Below that layer is the denser reticular layer. Um, Important things that originate from the dermis are sweat glands, blood vessels, hair follicles. Most sensory receptors are actually located in the dermis. Merkel cells, for example, are sensory receptors present in the epidermal dermal junctions. These cells are connected to sensory neurons and they're responsible for the deep pressure and texture within the skin. And finally, there is the hypodermis, which is the layer of connective tissue that connects the skin to the rest of the body. This layer, of course, is the subcutaneous layer, so it contains fat and fibrous tissue. Because the skin is the largest organ in the body, it is in direct contact with both the external and internal environments. Therefore, it is more susceptible to a wide range of injuries. Primary lesions are a direct result of the underlying disease process, and they're actually the most important diagnostically. Examples of primary lesions could be a patch, a macule, um, a cyst, which is an epithelial lined cavity in the dermis or subcutis containing fluid or semi solid material. Secondary lesions evolve from primary lesions and via self trauma, and they're basically altered keratinization. And this could be ulcers, which is a break in the epidermis with exposure of the underlying dermis, and it usually heals with a scar. Or scars themselves, which is an area of fibrous tissue that's been replaced with the damaged dermis or subcutis. A callus, which we mentioned before, which is a thickened, rough, alopecia uh, plaque that develops on the skin. Some contagious skin disorders are mites, head lice, body lice, herpes, staph. Herpes, as we know, is a viral infection that's associated with lesions around the mouth. Staph is a variety of localized infections caused by a common group of bacteria that's known for colonizing human skin and nasal passages. Um, Non contagious skin disorders, such as skin cancer, is usually a group of diseases that involve potentially malignant changes in the epidermal cells. Um, that can be basal cell carcinoma, which is the most common type of skin cancer, which involves a slow growing tumor um, on the face or head. Um, There's also the squamous cell carcinoma, which is a skin cancer that arises in keratinocytes that are superficial to the stratum germinativum. And of course, there's melanoma, which is the cancer of the pigment cells deep in the epidermis. And it usually metastasizes readily, and it's pretty much the leading cause of death by skin cancer. Other types of skin diseases are environmental induced skin disease. Um, some of that can include sun injury, which includes sunburn, which is basically direct endothelial damage and damage to the keratinocytes, with the release of inflammatory mediators. You usually see initial redness followed by pain, edema, blistering. Another type of environmental induced skin disease are chemical injuries, which is when agents penetrate the hair or the stratum corneum. An example of a chemical injury is primary contact irritant dermatitis, as pictured in the slide. And these are my references. I really hope you enjoyed my video presentation.